And we are by the Ferris wheel as evening comes to Atlanta. I don't know anybody that's up there right now. It's pretty good weather though for the South. It's been colder. We are joined by something that we have been doing all season long, and Meadow Barrow comes back to the show from the Red and White. I think this is your third appearance this year. Am I right?
Yes, my third appearance.
Nobody has been no young student has been on 3 times, but I think that shows how much we enjoy having you, Meadow. And a newcomer, Matt Goldman from the Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, is a student reporter, and Matt obviously bring his own cheering section. You are a what generation Ohio State person?
I'm a third generation, Paul, and I've been a Buckeye since the day I was born. My first bib was Bruce the Buckeye.
That is pretty remarkable, and we will have a few more Buckeyes on in a few minutes. Let me start with you, Matt, because the Georgia side of the story has been regurgitated often here. But give us the perspective from the campus and from covering the Buckeyes all year about this crazy season that many thought would be a national championship run, and then it was derailed, and here we are again.
Crazy seems like an understatement in a way, Paul. That Michigan game didn't go the Buckeyes' way, and so for Ohio State, it was kind of everything went. The campus was dead that day of the game, and then it's now Ohio versus the world. Nothing to lose is what the players and coaches have been talking about all week, and even the fans as well. So I wouldn't say desperation for Ohio State, but they got nothing to lose, and they know that they want to show the world what the Buckeyes are made of, and no way better than this Georgia game.
Well, I think you're right, and I don't mean to be overly critical here, but nothing to lose because their credibility was shattered, and rightly or wrongly, Ryan Day, who's had one of the most amazing records of any young coach in his career, suddenly, I've been on national shows, and people are saying, "Do you think you ought to be on the hot seat?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a ridiculous question. However, a bad loss Saturday, and it wouldn't be the last time we heard that question.
No doubt about it. And then the "We Want Urban" chants after the game against Michigan.
That's sad.
I thought that kind of was shocking that Ohio State doesn't realize that Ryan Day got to the national championship already. He's been in the playoff, and he's been successful when he did it, beating Clemson a couple of years ago. So for Ohio State fans, it's just that they don't like losing to Michigan, and realizing everything's gone right when that game happens kind of just hurt the fan base. But I think life was brought back into them on Selection Sunday.
Meadow, we saw you a couple weeks during the season in Jacksonville, and I think for the Tennessee weekend. It has been quite a run by the Dogs. So give us your view of where we are right now, other than in Atlanta at the semifinals.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty excited, especially the fans. I mean, this is the first time we've played Ohio State in years. I think since 1991 or 93. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's been a while since we played them, especially in Atlanta. It's kind of like a home game, but I think it's pretty much been the same. Everybody knows that Georgia's probably, trying to come back and get that championship run and get another ring. So, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's interesting, Matt. We're so used to Alabama getting another one. Now Georgia's talking about getting another one. The narrative, even in the South, has changed, much like it has in the Big Ten. And I want to ask you to follow up on losing to Michigan. I'm sure you've thought about this possibility, but should the Buckeyes win, there will be exhilaration. But take us a step further. If suddenly a week from Monday night in L.A., it's another Ohio State-Michigan matchup.
I think a lot of the fans are scared, to be honest, because if they lose twice to Michigan, oh my God, I don't even know what's going to happen. I don't know how everyone's going to react and college football is going to react, but if they get a shot against Michigan again, I know Ohio State fans will be nervous, but excited for that opportunity, because if you can beat Michigan in the national championship, there's no better place.
No.
And that'd be the biggest stage of all time for that rivalry. I can't even think about it because of just the way Ohio State played, and I don't know if they can match up with Michigan.
Yeah, what's interesting is we saw this last year, and it was meaningless for Georgia, but Alabama needed to win, and they did. And the next thing you know, Alabama is playing Georgia again in this epic rematch. But it's not the same though, because Alabama Georgia is a rivalry off the field, not really on the field. Michigan Ohio State is a blood sport.
Yeah, it's been a rivalry forever since my parents went there and back when my grandparents went there. every year. It's the school up north. No one refers to them as Michigan. All the M's are crossed down campus. So this rivalry means a lot to a lot of people, and I think the opportunity to beat them again would be awesome. That's a big if.
I mean, I'd like to. I'm not rooting against your team, Meadow, but Matt is selling me on the prospects of that game. I have to say that would be pretty wild, wouldn't it?
It would be very wild. It would be very, very wild. I have no words for that.
You don't see it happening.
Because I don't see it happening. And I'm not just saying that because I go to Georgia, but I don't really see it happening. I mean, these are two great teams on the defensive side for Georgia and then on the offensive side for Ohio State. And just to see these two teams come together and face off, it's going to kind of remind me a little bit of the Tennessee game, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a blowout. If Ohio State can get into the game early on, then, I don't think that they should have too much problems, but I don't see Ohio State winning this game.
We're talking to two young student. I guess you could be Stetson Bennett and not be a young student.
Yeah.
But Matt Goldman from Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio, student reporter there. He is a third-generation Buckeye and Meadow Barrow from the Red and White. Matt, Meadow has laid out a scenario. I know the Buckeye players have talked a good game all week, but what is the path to winning this game?
It's containing Stetson Bennett in this unbelievable offense. Brock Bowers, Darnell Washington. You have a great running back by committee in Georgia and a consistent offensive line that multiple players have SEC accolades this season. And for Ohio State, the defense has been the weakness. So going up against this offense of Georgia is going to be a big test, especially the secondary for Ohio State. It was shown in that Michigan game, the big plays, the no open field tackling that Ohio State could not do with their safeties and their cornerbacks. So I think that will be a big challenge for Ohio State and trying to contain all the weapons that Georgia has, because it's like they have unlimited weapons.
They do, Meadow, and Matt laid out a number of them. What do you think is the most important weapon for Georgia Saturday?
Definitely the receivers. Ohio State, they're pretty good at defending against the running backs and tight ends, but they've kind of struggled a little bit defending against receivers. So I think that A.D. Mitchell needs to step up. We also got Ra Thomas from Mississippi State, and we got another receiver from Missouri. So I think the receivers have to step up in this game.
Matt, I know you're pulling for a scenario to see this Michigan-Ohio State game, which I think a lot of people are, frankly. If it doesn't happen and Georgia ends up playing Michigan for the national championship on that Monday night, I guess you'll be back in Columbus then. Mm-hmm. You and your buddies sitting around, how big of dog fans are you going to be that night?
My friends and I are going to be the biggest dog fans in the world. We do not want to see Michigan win in any way, shape, or form. I think it will be a very interesting game. I think that will be the rematch of last year. It will be really fun to watch Georgia potentially beat down on Michigan. It will make us feel a little better, but at the same time, we're not there to play in LA.
Well, Matt, before you go, make sure we get your address, and Meadow and I are going to spring for some dog gear, so you and your buddies will at least look the part while you're barking for a dog victory. I don't know what's going to happen, but you guys have been fun to come on. Meadow Barrow from the Red and Black, and of course Matt Goldman, who I don't know. I see stardom for both of you in your respective fields. It's a pleasure to meet both of you and have you on.
Thank you, Paul. If you ever need a co-host, I'll come join you.
I'm just hoping nobody at the network saw this. I may be out by Monday. Great job. We will come back with much more right after this.